Pipe it up, listeners. Do not go anywhere. This year could not be off to a better start if you are tuning into this podcast. Great show today. Two guests, Sawyer Behen, Sean Huff, a.k.a. Stat Sean. We had Kyle Schultz in studio for a little while. Not here anymore, but he started the episode with us. We got Jack, my co-host on Zoom. Two great interviews, some massive breaking news from my co-host here. I don't want to steal his thunder at all, but stick around to the end for that one. And just a fun episode overall. We exchanged some gifts as our Christmas spirit is still lingering a little bit. I still think we're not done, Jack, but Patrick Ballman killed it, that's all I'm going to say. And enjoy this one, folks. This is the Pipe It Up podcast. Cue the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pipe It Up podcast, the official podcast of MLW Wiffle Ball here in 2025. We got Kamish in the building to my left.
What's up?
Jack joining us on Zoom. How we doing, fellas? It's been a long time, feels like.
I'm so excited for you to be here to give out some gifts today. And Jack, good to see you as always, man.
Good to see you guys. It feels like ages. Like I feel like we haven't talked in so long. We were 2 weeks off, or at least 2 weeks off for me. And it feels like it's just been a while. It feels good to be home.
Yeah, 2 weeks off. I feel like this actually went by very quickly, though, in my opinion. This was a crazy holiday season. We didn't plan the best for it here at Pipe It Up. We'll call a spade a spade. So we do have some gifts that have been lingering for the past several weeks here. First things first, I want to say I know PB received his gift from Jack and myself. We got him a little Pittsburgh Steelers large desk pad for his mouse as he's working on editing the pods. So shout out to PB. He said he appreciated it, and PB, we appreciate you. And then Kyle, we exchanged a few little things before Christmas, but then I said I had some stuff coming. So we'll get to you first, I guess.
What are we starting with?
We'll start with the gifts I got for you and Jack.
All right. Let me bring it over.
Bring it over, but don't open anything yet.
All right.
So Jack, listen up because this applies to you too. And Jack, okay. I have your gift in my hand right here, nicely wrapped. So as I think I've mentioned on this podcast before, something that my mother actually does for us, her three kids, including myself, is every year she gets us an ornament.
Okay, nice.
That has to do with sort of like an accomplishment or a significant moment or just like a highlight from your previous year. It doesn't necessarily need to be like your biggest highlight, but just a highlight as a remembrance of something important that happened that year in your life. So that is what I got for the two of you. Kyle, why don't we have you go first here?
All right, here we go.
In the Lulu bag.
Oh, let's go. You didn't have to, Tom. What you're looking at right here is a 2023 Michigan National Champions ornament.
So that one was a full year ago, pretty much.
That's going on the tree at the Schultz household.
It happened last year.
No, that's beautiful. I didn't have this, so,
I know,
so that's a great gift.
I was concerned that you did, and I was at the award show. I showed a picture to your dad and Dan. I was like, does he already have this? And they're like, no.
I was like,
perfect.
Great gift.
So that's what we got for Kyle.
That's extremely thoughtful of you, Tom. It takes a lot for a Michigan State fan and an alumni to buy an ornament like that.
Yeah, thank you for supporting our athletic department.
For the record,
that's going to go to our NIL fund.
I didn't go into the MDen or any local Michigan store to get that. I went to Amazon and got that. So, I couldn't show face. The truth
Who's going to pay Bryce Underwood now?
Yeah. Oh, man, that guy's got more money than he needs. Now, Jack, would you like us to open this now, or would you like me to deliver it to you sometime in person? It's up to you. It's Jack's gift. Because I could drop it off at your place sometime soon.
I want to maybe defer until a later date.
Okay.
Because
that's good.
In typical fashion, I am underprepared for this meeting here and do not have a gift. So I will have a gift, but I do not have one right now. There was a lot going on this past month. Yes. Not that I didn't have 365 days to prepare for it. But nonetheless, I don't have a gift, so I'm going to defer, and then we can maybe swap and post something on Instagram or something. Does that work?
That totally works for me. I'm totally down with that.
Okay, cool.
And you don't have to get me a gift, Jack. This is just a thoughtful exercise. Kyle's got another gift in his hand here.
we're going to Tommy first, but this is also a group gift from Patrick Ballman.
PB.
And I got a sneak peek, and these are awesome. And you can open the first one, Tom, and then I will open mine, and then I'll also show Jack's because they kind of come together.
Okay, so Jack, we're gonna show you this one.
The third one is related to these two, but
maybe we should just wait.
Okay, let's keep that one a surprise.
We can film it all.
Okay, we can film that all later. So you go, Tom, and then I'll actually have mine ready too. This is from Patrick Ballman.
Okay.
Our awesome editor.
I guarantee, knowing PB, he probably outdid us so hard on his Pittsburgh Steelers mouse pad, Jack. I guarantee it.
Totally did. Totally did. We're about to get shown up.
Oh gosh, we totally are. I'm opening it, Kyle.
Yep. I already kind of had a sneak peek of
There's
mine.
no shot.
Yeah, isn't that sick?
There's no shot. Jack. This is a bobblehead of myself.
These are so good.
There is absolutely no way
So good.
that he did
Oh,
this.
that's unbelievable.
Turn the camera. Jack has to see mine.
Oh my gosh. Patrick
That is
Ballman
amazing.
steps up to the plate and hits a home run.
Dude.
Tom, look at mine.
This
That's
is
fantastic.
disgustingly.
Look at the detail on this.
So wait, do you know the story behind these?
No idea.
So we don't know where these came from or who made them.
No idea.
Well, I got an idea here.
We're gonna need to follow up. But
Do I give them free promo? There's a website listed on the bottom here. We'll ask PB. This is
I mean, it has to be like custom made. Like you had to have sent a bunch of images over, hair color. Like
this is insanity.
so good.
Dude, that's
PB,
awesome. That's a great gift.
You can't do this to me after I
We
sent
just
you a
got
mouse
smoked,
pad.
dude.
We just got
We
slaughtered.
just got smoked.
Let's put it on the.
We'll
the
take pictures
ottoman
of all
here.
these. My question for you, Jack, is, and so Jack's is related but different. So I'm guessing Jack's is maybe a bobblehead, but it's different. Maybe it's not Jack. Maybe it's a giraffe bobblehead. My question for you, Jack.
If it is a bobblehead, I'm very interested to see which picture
Here you
he
go,
chose because I feel like
Jack, for you to see.
I feel like I've gone through. It's unbelievable. I feel like I've
crazy.
gone through different phases. I've had like long hair, long.
This even
beard,
has a wristband.
I know.
on
It's
that
got
I
your it has your Summer of Stadiums patch.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. That wristband broke too. I was so disappointed. This is
It's got
nuts.
a wristband on there.
Yeah, Jack, yours is really good too, but we will keep that one a mystery.
Wow, this is
Oh,
my question
gosh,
for
I'm
the
so
two of you
excited.
before we get to Sawyer.
We have to put these up somewhere. Like right.
Well, that's my question.
We gotta
is,
get a ledge.
Let's say the studio was not here. Okay,
Yeah.
what do I do with this?
I mean,
Like, is it like
right in the
self-centered
office.
to have a bobblehead of yourself in your own home?
where else is it gonna go?
I don't know. I mean, this is arguably the coolest thing I've ever gotten.
It
but
actually is. It makes me want to do like a bobblehead night at every
Oh,
single one of our out of state events.
my gosh. You know, my biceps and calves could have been a little bigger, but besides that, this thing is flawless.
Who painted it? Who created every
Yeah,
limb?
that's
I
crazy.
need to know. We're gonna need to. You know what we should do? We need to figure out who runs that website, and we
Get
need
him on
to
the
call
show.
them.
We
need
actually should.
and
All right,
be like, what is your process?
So this is justbobble.com.
Yeah, we need to get the info.
We
on
need
them.
to speak to the CEO
Yeah, we need to get him on this podcast.
immediately and figure out who is crafting these things.
I just want him to be like, I was looking at Tommy's photo for 5 hours. I wanted to get the perfect jersey.
That is unbelievable. What were you saying, Jack? I cut you off, I think. I was just too amazed.
No worries. I think we're battling a little Zoom lag. That's fine. We'll fight through like we always have. But I have seen this before. Like I have seen custom bobbleheads. One of my friends, like he also got it as like a gift. And he does have it in his office. So if that is something that you want to go for, I don't think that's out of bounds. Now the question is, do you turn the bobblehead to face yourself at your desk or face other people that may be coming across your desk? That's the real question I think you got to ask yourself.
I think maybe I should just like make someone really uncomfortable and as a joke re-gift this like maybe like a borderline friend, like a fringe friend, like a coworker maybe, and they open it and they're like, what is this? Like, it's me. It's bobblehead of me.
That'd be like a Michael Scott move.
Just to see what their reaction is.
That'd be 100% a Michael Scott move.
Oh my goodness, PB. Round of applause for PB.
Yeah, I don't know how you came up with that.
That's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Dude, so good. So good.
So good. I am in shock. We got to keep this episode moving. But what a way to start the year.
I know.
What a way to start the year.
Fantastic.
I think if we had him on a ledge right here, right there, we've been looking for something main to go right there. That's going to headline it right there.
Yeah, that's, I've gotten a lot of like figurines and action figures and bobbleheads in my life.
That's a bucket list
If
item.
I ever like dropped that and it cracked, I think I would shed a real tear. It's so beautiful.
We got to get Patrick one now. I'm just thinking.
We definitely do.
I got to get him on a call.
Yeah. Okay. We have Sawyer Behen on the phone. He is our first guest.
Wait, Tom, more gifts.
More gifts.
Yeah.
Sawyer, hold the phone.
One more for Tom.
One more gift.
Jax will come later, and then I got to run, make a schedule.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, we have a tournament coming up this weekend in Texas with, drumroll please, 77 teams, I'm hearing.
Yeah, biggest
That's insane.
out-of-state
Holy
tournament
cannoli.
ever.
Holy cannoli.
And this is the last gift of
That's
today
crazy.
for
All
Tommy. Jack, I have one for you also, but that's coming
This
later.
is coming from Mr. Kamish.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, one more gift for Christmas. Might be the last one I open this year. It's a T-shirt, and it says, "All I want for Christmas." Oh, it's Tim Robinson, Jack, our favorite. I don't know if you can see that at all.
Tom
But-
loves this guy.
Yeah, for those of
Can
you
you
who
read it
are,
for me?
are old enough to know, Tim Robinson is hilarious. Definitely, this is adult television, but it says, "All I want for Christmas is 55 burgers, 55 fries, 55 tacos, 55 pies, 55 Cokes, 100 tater tots, 100 pizzas, 100 tenders, 100 meatballs, 100 coffees, 55 wings, 55 shakes, 55 pancakes, 55 pastas, 55 peppers, and 155 taters."
That might have to be our next food challenge.
That's
Yeah,
good.
oh, don't even
Pick one of the
joke.
items on there.
Yeah, that's awesome, Kyle. Thank you very much.
Yep.
This would be a great shirt to wear to a party.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That was
Mark,
the first item
that's
I've ever
awesome.
bought off the TikTok shop.
Oh my goodness,
The most Gen Z
TikTok
thing
shop.
I've ever done in my life.
You know who shops in the TikTok shop that I found absolutely hilarious? Is
I already know.
the Swamp Man.
Oh,
The
that's
Swamp,
funny. I didn't
the
know
Swamp
that.
Man came clean. He's like, "I love the TikTok shop," and I started cracking
I'm
up.
not gonna lie, it was a couple swipes away and it was here. It was efficient,
TikTok shop, good deals, huh?
I guess. Let's hopefully TikTok doesn't end on January 19th. We'll see.
What a start to this episode! This is crazy.
Yeah.
Couple of remarkable
Banger.
gifts.
Is that my time?
I mean, yeah. If you got to run,
Hold on. I'm going to show Tommy the bobblehead of Jack off screen.
Okay.
Is that fine?
Yeah.
Okay, I got to
Reaction.
get off screen for this and then I'm going to run.
Reaction.
But thanks for having me on the pod again,
Yes,
Tom.
always great to have you on. You're always welcome. What a start, folks. Sorry, Sawyer. This was unexpected. All right, he's pulling it out. Oh my goodness, that is incredible. Jack, wait till you see this. This thing is absolutely insane.
Is it with a headband on?
You just gotta have to wait and see. You're just gonna have to wait and see. But it's
Oh my gosh. If it's with a headband on,
it's-
that's going to be legendary.
it's so sick. Okay, we will get the reaction from Jack later. Fellas, welcome to the Pipe It Up podcast. We do great things around here. We love each other. Sawyer, how you done? How you been? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Tom. How about you?
I'm doing great. I don't have a gift for you, unfortunately. I hope that's okay. I didn't.
Dude, I'm sad that I don't have a gift for y'all. What do you mean?
We're
Feel
late to
left
the,
out here. Come on.
we're late to the Christmas game here, but thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. You reached out, said you wanted to be on. So,
For sure.
Jack, you want to kick us off here in this interview, first of the year?
Well, I guess we should start with the classic small talk here around, just the new year flipping over. So, number one, was Santa good to you this year, Sawyer? What was maybe your favorite gift? And then do you have a New Year's resolution for us?
Let's see. Favorite gift, honestly, and this is the thing that sucks about getting older is I got a lot of socks and I was pretty happy about that.
Money.
Excellent.
And yeah, money. Those were two of probably my favorite things. And then I got some other stuff that that's a little more political, so I won't say what I got on the pod, but that's pretty much it.
Okay. What about a New Year's resolution? Anything you're trying to maybe add to your routine or take away or anything? You got anything for us?
No, I'm not a big New Year's resolution person. Like, I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing, keep lifting, keep working, do well in school, that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I don't really do New Year's resolutions. I don't think that the new year flipping over is going to do much to motivate me to change my life in some weird way. It actually annoys me, New Year's resolutioners, because, like, I'll go to the gym in January.
Of course, it's the gym,
and it's
yeah.
Dude, and it's just packed with people that I've never seen in my life before, and it just is a huge inconvenience for like a month. Like, it just sucks. So like I always go late at night now, like in the winter, just to avoid the swamp of people at the gym normally. That's my stance on New Year's resolutions.
Just stay the course. They'll be gone in about 2 weeks. You just give them 2-3 weeks. Those people will be gone.
We were all
Yeah,
supposed to
yeah.
be here together, man. Just stay the course. Sawyer, for the record on this podcast, I have endorsed gym New Year's resolutioners. So I will not endorse those who go for only January or like a couple weeks and then quit. You got to stick it out. But we don't like to talk bad about people that are trying new things. So just bear with them. Bear with them. Many are called, few are chosen.
Yeah, I'll work on it.
Good. Okay, that's all I can ask for from you. Well, Sawyer, thanks again for joining us. I know you said you wanted to chat a little bit. First things first, I just wanted to get your take, I think, just on your performance last year a little bit, sort of your first year as an ace in this league, if I put that in quotes, because you really had that number one role. It was yours to lose, and you definitely earned it all year on the Gators. So what was that like? How was that transition from you from Cobras to Gators, and just how do you assess looking back?
Honestly, I liked it a lot. I just liked the transition of where, like, no one was telling me what to do on the mound. Like, when I was on the Cobras, like, Drew, because he was a catcher in high school and stuff, he would come up to me and be like, hey, stay away from this pitch, or hey, throw this pitch. And personally, I don't like that much. That's not a thing that I've liked doing ever. And then coming to the Gators, Chris just goes, dude, throw what you're going to throw. I don't care. As long as you strike people out. That's just very, very Chris Cheatham about it. I enjoyed that. Another thing I enjoyed about the Gators is that, like, I didn't have to worry about being the only guy on the mound. Like, if I wasn't performing well, especially towards the end of the year, I feel like on the Gators we're very lucky to have a 1A 1B situation, and they're just kind of interchangeable with Jeremy. So I did like that. I also liked having a bigger like say in like lineups or game strategies or something like that. And then also with off-season talks and trying to get either a pick or a trade or something going for the Gators next year. I'm a lot more involved in that, and that's really it. Like, that was pretty much the whole difference, I guess, in changing from the Cobras to the Gators in the whole year.
All right. What did you like? You mentioned Jeremy kind of being the 1B or 1A. I mean, did you expect him to have the year that he did on the mound and just overall, like on the mound and at the plate? Was that what you expected of him going in, or did that kind of shock even you?
No, I think that I was actually shocked that he got that early start and found his confidence pretty early, at least at the plate. Like, I've played this kid in multiple tournaments ever since I've been in MLW, so I played against him almost every time we played, and I'm not shocked at all that he stepped up and played like that. I got the chance to play with him at UFs too, and he really carried our team in pool play and pitched perfect games against, top teams there. So no, I wasn't shocked at all. I was always confident in Jeremy's abilities, and especially hitting. And then towards the end of the year, pitching really came into play, and he was just lights out towards the end of the season. So, you can't really ask for a better kid to have on your team as your other pitcher than Jer.
Yeah, that's sweet. Definitely another piece of young talent that MLW saw come in last year. He surprised me a little bit, but I had a feeling he would adjust quick just because he's kind of seen our style at tournaments at times, and he's always like been pretty consistent. So just his dedication probably is what surprised me the most, that he didn't miss a series despite living hours and hours away. It was pretty impressive. But besides him, in your bullpen, you were also dealing with a shoulder injury, I believe. You mentioned that you needed surgery at some point on this podcast last year. I believe that was one of our clickbait thumbnails that we had, although there was some truth to it in your words. Did that ever happen, or what's the status there?
Right. So I was planning to get surgery. It was going to be the Monday or Tuesday after we got back from Vermont. So like second or third week in August. But the weekend before we went to Vermont was the Wiffle and the Mitten. And we got to like the semifinals, and we needed a guy to close it out because the other two guys on our roster outside of Jackson were shot. Their arms were done. So I was like, you know what? I'm getting surgery in 2 weeks. I might as well just throw my arm out.
That's
and the whole point for me getting the surgery was to get my velo to mid 80s to 90s again, because when I started throwing fast pitching earlier in the year, it was like 75 tops. But I was just doing, basic rotator cuff strengthening stuff. And I went out there and I had a gun on me, so I got a little excited, and I ended up hitting like 89 or 90. So I was like, screw surgery, kicked it to the side. I was like, I'll power through it. And then I heard about this thing called a PRP shot, which is which the logic behind it is the reason that if your labrum tears off and it's still intact, the reason it can't heal is because your shoulder capsule doesn't have a lot of natural blood flow. So a PRP shot is they take a certain amount of your blood, dilute it down to the red blood cells, the plasma, the platelets in your blood, and then re-inject it directly into the shoulder capsule to, one, introduce blood, but two, tell your body to send blood and create blood vessels through the shoulder. And I got that done right after my fast pitch season was done, because I continued to pitch into UWIFs and went to Arizona, pitched in KZoo, hit like 94 through eight innings with that first full game I pitched, and I threw 8 innings of fast pitch. Ended up winning the KZoo championship with Grant. But yeah, I got the shot, and I just started my return to throw program in physical therapy today. I just got back into lifting upper body about 3-4 weeks ago. So, and it's feeling better. It's not popping nearly as much as it used to. So I'm pretty hopeful for that.
Dang, that's a eventful off season.
Yeah,
for sure.
I've heard. I knew what the PRP shots. I dealt with a lot of muscular injuries like in high school and through college. So the PRP was always like, yeah, you could do this. I never did one of those. I was close to doing one with one injury, but I just wanted to ask another question on that. Like, what's the full recovery, kind of like, what's your window to be like, yeah, I'm fully ready to go, recovered? Or is it kind of just you're rehabbing it to the point of, until it doesn't need to be rehabbed?
It's a little bit of a mix of both. So obviously, the procedure itself, the doctor, when I was about to have it done, told me that this is either going to be super painful for you or you're not going to feel a thing. And I didn't even realize he put the needle into my shoulder. So that was, I guess, a good thing. But the full length that I was told by my specialist, who actually works with the West Michigan Whitecaps, the minor league affiliate of the Tigers, and it is like their team doc and has done it on many minor league and major league pitchers. He basically told me that it's about a 12-week recovery window, and then probably another 3 weeks on top of that to just get back into throwing. And I'm currently sitting, so November 1st, I'm currently around the 12 weeks right now, give or take, but I just started return to throw today, and I'm probably going to get into actually throwing a ball in the next 2 weeks. And I got cleared to swing, cleared to play men's league hockey, cleared to lift. Lifting, I need to slowly get into it, but, I would much rather take 12 to 15 weeks as opposed to 6 to 9 months with surgery, so.
Makes sense.
That's crazy. I do not personally know anyone who has done that, so good luck to you. When you say return to throw, are you going to start throwing a wiffle ball right away, or are you going to start with a baseball or something a little heavier?
So right now they basically just have me going through my motions, going through mechanics. The 2 or 3 things are like, it's basically just band work, and then going through my mechanics while holding like a 1-pound dumbbell and going through like 30% speed of my motion. And they said they're probably going to start me with throwing a baseball in a week or 2, and then a wiffle ball shortly after that. And I'll be fully cleared.
Wiffle ball rehab. This is sick.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah.
Dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, they said I'll be for sure 100% cleared by the end of January, first week of February at the very latest. So,
wow, that's unreal. I wish you the best of luck, man. I'm sorry you're dealing with this. Injuries are no fun. I've talked about that before. I'm sure the break from lifting was tough for you.
Well, I could hit legs, but after hitting legs for 5 days a week, it kind of gets old. So,
are the quads
the
looking
first
good
2
at
weeks,
least?
The calves are insane right now.
The calves?
Calves are insane. Yeah, I was hitting calves every single day for like 5 sets. The calves are great. Quads and hammies, they're getting there. But it was kind of weird doing walking in there with a sling and trying to figure out how to do everything left-handed. So that was kind of a weird transition to going into the gym.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Good for you though.
That's crazy.
Sticking after it and still getting work done.
Yeah, it's I kind of have to lift at this point. I've been doing it for so long. I feel weird if I skip a day, even if I'm injured. I don't know if that's healthy or not, but it's just kind of the way it is for me.
Fair enough. So I wanted to ask you, like, the Gators had an interesting season because I would say you guys, in a way, outperformed what people might have expected you to do in the beginning of the season, just based on 2023 and kind of the team that you ended as. Tommy and I discussed on the podcast that the Gators are kind of a team that you wouldn't really want to see in the playoffs. And then you guys didn't end up making the playoffs. So I'm sure like the end result of the season wasn't what you were looking for. But I guess if you could just quickly kind of summarize like your take on like the Gators season, from start to finish this year.
Yeah, I think that we definitely took steps in the right direction. Like the one thing that I really thought was funny was when I saw the power rankings at the end of the year, and the Gators were the 5th best team in the league, and we didn't make playoffs, especially because we were 1 game below 500, and then you saw teams that were 2 or 3 games below 500 in the AL making the playoffs, and that was hard to see. And then also kind of, I wish that the Vermont series, I wish we either would have played that earlier in the year, and it wasn't saved for like the last series of the year, and we need to make the playoff situation, because that was a playoff series for us. And that it was a really hard series because obviously there's a lot of things at that field. They're amazing fields. It's a really cool experience, but it's really hard to play there because one, the mounds are elevated and they're a little bit too close. So when you're stepping up on that mound. The dirt is like red clay dirt, so it gets in the scuff and it makes it hard to control the ball. So I always end up just throwing a fastball towards the end of the game. So I wish that we would have played our last series at the Meadows and maybe played in Vermont a little earlier. That's the only thing that I really kind of was frustrated with, was just because it's things out of my control. And that was pretty much it with that series. Personally, I think if we played it at the Meadows, it would have been a little bit different, but it still was a really cool experience, really great experience going out there. But overall with the Gators season, like we were right there. We were 1 more win from being a playoff team, maybe 2, depending on this. I think it might've been 2. We had to sweep the D-backs and be at least a game ahead of the Mallards because they had the tiebreaker or something. But overall, I knew coming into the season, when I found out we were getting Jeremy, I was like, we could definitely make the playoffs. I think that it just took us a little while to figure it out. I think we really figured it out in Slate 4 against the Cats. I think the whole team was doing really great. I think everyone on the team except for 1 or 2 guys didn't hit a home run that series. So the things that we're looking to change, I guess, is me and Chris and Jason are going to start practicing a lot earlier. We're probably going to start just doing BP and live pens in a couple weeks. But I really just think that we were right there, and it was a really, like, that loss in Field of Dreams on that walk-off, that was a heartbreaker for sure. But I think next year with whoever we get, as long as we add the right piece, someone who, has timely hitting, someone who can get on base and be a good fielder, I think if we get someone like that in our lineup, that's going to be the last piece for us to really move from being a team that's just there, a barely playoff team, to a team that could really contend.
Well said. I agree with what you said, Jack, too, and I agree with what you said, Sawyer. You guys were right there, 1 or 2 wins away, and I agree that you were not a team that I think anybody wanted to play. You really peaked at the end of the year, and unfortunately your season ended. It didn't end in the postseason. It ended with the regular season, and you didn't make the playoffs. But it reminds me, Jack, of our 2022 Detroit Lions, who were like playing the best football in the NFL, but because their start was so slow, they didn't get a chance to have a crack at it in the postseason. So I hope for you, Sawyer, and for the Gators fandom that you guys kind of start on your right foot this year rather than being slow out of the gates and having to play catch up again, because it was exciting to watch. And Jeremy is developing into a great player. Chris wasn't phenomenal by any means, but he definitely was a step up from where he was a year ago. And I think I could say the same about Jason. And of course, you were starting to really come into your own on the mound. So I wish you guys the best of luck, and I guess we'll have to stay tuned this offseason to the health of the shoulder, because that's obviously a big factor for you and the Gators heading into this year.
Oh, for sure. I appreciate that. I'm really looking forward to this season. The only thing we could do is play the Cobras in the first slate. That's something that I don't want to do. I don't voice crack, but
Welcome to
I don't want to play the Cobras I don't want to play the Cobras straight out the gate. I kind of want to settle into the season and then play them. But, knowing Kyle, he'll probably set that up as opening day or something. So either way, I'm looking forward to the whole season. We're going to treat every series like it's a playoff series. And I think that's kind of where we fell short last year is kind of just hoping that the next series would do better. And then it got to the point where, okay, we have to sweep to win. And when we said that at the All-Star game before the Cat series, I was talking with Chris and Jason, and I was like, we got to sweep if we want to make it, or got to have a chance to make it. And I think when we really put that in motion, that's how we worked a lot better, played a lot better. But I just think that we got to treat every series like it's the last we're going to play next year. The boys got to hate to lose next year. That's what the team needs.
You got to hate losing more than you even want to win.
No, you got to hate losing more than you want to win.
Exactly.
Hate losing more than you love to win. That's the way you got to play.
Okay. There it is. I love it. All right. Well, thanks, Sawyer. We appreciate it. Best of luck, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yep. See you guys.
All right. Thank you again to Sawyer Behen, Gators ace. Now we pivot on to the upcoming upload, which is the award show from the 2024 season. So we recorded that over the holidays with a small group here in Brighton, Michigan. And the votes are in. The fans voted. A lot of them were very close. Some of the results surprised me, which usually it's kind of chalked. This year there was a couple awards, one in particular that I was pretty surprised about. So to talk about where we're looking at and what we're looking at from a numbers perspective and where we think the vote should lean if it was chalked, Jack and I wanted to have, and really he expressed interest in coming on, Sean Huff, a.k.a. Stat Sean, one of our recurring guests here, big fan of ours. Sean, thank you so much for joining us again. We really appreciate your time as always.
Yeah, absolutely. As always, thanks for having me again.
Oh, it's always our pleasure. We're always happy to have you on, especially when you have things to talk about. So awards this year. I know you had asked me, is there anything in particular you wanted us to focus in on? Because we only have about 20 minutes here. And the two that I told you I thought were, in my own head, we're a pretty tight race. Where we can start here is with the Most Improved Award as well as the Rookie of the Year Award. And that, in my opinion, there were a couple candidates for those that all had really strong arguments, and you could really go either way as a fan based on the way you saw the season. So let's start with Most Improved, Sean. People that come to my head are guys like Daniel Schultz, who really stepped it up this year, Caden Irwin, who took on a way larger role than he previously had, Preston Colm had a career year, had the highest average in the league. Even guys like Sawyer Behen, who took on a bigger role. There's just a lot of different names that could be thrown out there. What are your thoughts, and who are the front runners here that should be getting votes?
Well, my first thought is Dan is going to win. I don't really think it's going to be close.
He always keeps it short and sweet. I love it.
I wouldn't personally have voted for him. He's my favorite player, for the record. But last year, when I talked about Most Improved, I said I view it as a breakout award and not a comeback award. And I think Dan has just been too good in his career at this point to win Most Improved. I know he was great in a different way this year. It was a way we hadn't seen him necessarily be great before. But on the other hand, it kind of was. I think this was his 7th time in his career leading the league in walks. It was his 3rd time in on base. He's been a great hitter with that same skill set before, just not quite to this extent. And I just have a philosophical argument against seeing a 15-year veteran win Most Improved, especially one who a few years ago had the greatest single season in league history.
That's all fair. That's all very fair.
Yeah.
But it seems like that's still the way you're going to vote? Or I guess the way you think it should go based on the awards criteria?
That's who's going to win. Just by definition, he was the...
What?
Just, he was the most improved by definition.
But Sean, sorry to interrupt, but you kind of said it there yourself that he is the most improved, but don't you think that some voters would look at maybe his name on the ballot and think, well, he's just been in the league for 400 years. He can't really improve that much more anymore. If he has if he has like a good season, it's not really like he's improving. He's just always been that good of a player. Don't you think some people will see it that way?
I do, but I also think since the league gets more fans every year, there's a lot of fans who didn't see 2019 Dan or even 2022. He was a star level hitter who didn't see that and are going to be like, oh, yeah, he was just kind of an average to slightly below average hitter in 23. And all of a sudden in 24, he's arguably the best hitter in the league. Although my vote, I'll say, went to Caden Irwin.
Nice.
Yeah, he was the guy out of all the candidates who we hadn't seen do this before. Like coming into this year in a pretty large sample, he had just been a roughly league average pitcher who walked a ton of guys. And this year he was great. I believe he was a Cy Young finalist on the ballot. His control was way better. His drop ball looked way better. That's where I went just because he was the guy who was established as not that player. And now he is.
I like that. So that was my follow-up question. Is I mentioned a couple other names besides Dan. So if Dan was out of the question and you eliminate a 10-year veteran from contention, you think Caden's the guy?
Yeah, I think he probably came in second. I could see Sawyer coming in second just because he pitched so much more this year than he had before, and he has the insane highlights. He hit for a lot of power this year, which he hadn't really done before. But I think not that the full results get published, but I think Caden would come in second and Sawyer third.
Release the votes.
Release
the count.
Am I like misremembering the entire season and crazy in the fact to think that Casey Bennett could at least be like a wild card on this for this award?
I was hoping Kyle was here because I was going to ask him why Casey was on the ballot.
Oh, Casey's still getting shots. Oh, so he was better in 23.
That's a jab. That's a jab for sure. Sorry, Casey.
No, he was really good in 23. He was the best four hitter in the league.
That's interesting. I wonder because I wasn't surprised to see him on the ballot, but I guess maybe part of why he made it is just because we saw him a little bit more than we did in 23. So like by default, our subconscious is just thinking that like he's doing better because we're seeing him more. But maybe statistically that's not true.
Yeah, he definitely, the stuff looked way better when he pitched.
Yeah.
I think I had him down as throwing 8 different pitch types this year, and I had him down as throwing like 3 last year.
Okay.
He also just
so
took
we're not totally crazy.
Yeah, he took on a much bigger role this year too, Jack, because Michael Shima is no longer a D-back. So that, he had more at-bats, he had more opportunities on the mound. His role was bigger. So whereas last year, I think he really like capitalized on his limited at-bats, so his average was inflated because of that,
Makes sense, yeah.
All of those D-back hitters took a massive hit to their average in that Miami series. It was not kind to batting averages on either side of that one. Let's pivot into Rookie of the Year a little bit, and this one I want to talk about because of a little word called recency bias, or a little term, I should say. I think all year long, it was Jeremy. It was always Jeremy. There was nobody else even close. And then all of a sudden in Slate 5, final series of the year, a 16-year-old named Levi Fleer decided to become one of the best hitters power-wise in the entire league. I think he hit like 5 home runs in his last 3 series, including 2 massive postseason series, World Series, you name it. He was hitting a clutch bomb, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, hold the phone. Maybe there was another guy who just took him a little bit longer to warm up here. If I had to vote, I'm Mr. This is totally me giving my opinion. This is totally biased, which usually I try to avoid that, but I'm always biased and think that, not every player gets the opportunity for the postseason, so maybe those numbers shouldn't matter as much. But then Kyle's argument and a lot of the fans are like, well, the postseason for some guys is like half the season, so it definitely should matter. But for that reason I mentioned about my bias, I like Jeremy What are your thoughts, though, Sean?
Yeah, I like Jeremy too. Uh, First of all, I just think Jeremy's a great player. Like, uh, you talked about Levi needing some time to settle in. Well, Jeremy did too. He walked in like 6 runs against the Eagles. His first start was against the Mallards. I think he only had 1 strikeout. He, the first half of the year, just didn't pitch that well. Uh, he hit well in the first half. If the NL wasn't so loaded, he would have been an all-star just on his bat. But he needed time to settle in. And then second half of the season, he really turned it on as a great pitcher. He remained a good hitter. He was the best hitter on, well, Sawyer was the best hitter on the Gators, but he's a little more inconsistent. Jeremy is probably the most reliable hitter on the Gators. And he became the best number 2 arm in the league. I know you were talking to Sawyer earlier about his injury. If anything was to happen where he couldn't go slate 1, the Gators would be fine because Jeremy is an ace level pitcher. He's the rookie of the year for me. I know how great Levi was at the end of the year with the bat, but I was putting together I made full ballots in preparation for this, like 3 guys for each award, except for Cy Young. I did 5, MVP I did 10.
Wow.
And I had Ash slotted in as 3rd for rookie of the year, and I had Adams and Clear. And I just kept thinking, yeah, but the pitching still did happen for Levi. I can't ignore that it happened and that he had almost an 8 ERA. I
Very
know that's
fair.
not what his case is based on, but and that's obviously not his true talent level, but it is still something that happened. I can't ignore it.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty fair assessment. Like, and you do kind of forget about his pitching just because his batting was so exciting and incredible. But I think both the managers of the Predators would probably say that they really drafted Levi to be that pitcher, to be that second arm. That was mostly why they took him. And, you know, if he could give him some quality at bats, then that would be kind of like the icing on the cake. But it really just like flipped around the other way, and turns out that, you know, he found his stride there as a hitter in the league, but is still kind of struggling on the mound. I think just having gone up against him, I feel like he has the stuff to do it on the mound. They move like enough to the point where he struggles to throw strikes because they're moving so much. Like, he gets them to move. He's just gotta dial them in, and I think he will. So who knows? Maybe he's an early candidate for most improved if he comes around next year, and, you know, he's the best number 2 arm and puts up another solid batting year, and we're talking about him for most improved. Maybe, who knows?
Oh, I could definitely see it. His arsenal is so nasty. He just couldn't find the tin. And the funny thing with it is, I talked to Norp about the rookie class after the draft last year, and he said early on, I actually like Clear better as a hitter than a pitcher. And I didn't believe him because I had seen highlights of Clear pitching, and I thought, oh, this guy has so much movement. He's only going to need to be a number 2 pitcher. Like, that seems like a perfect fit. And no, he was absolutely right.
He's a good scout. Good scout.
Norp
Jim.
is always right. Before we move any further, Jack, can I just say that when we have Sean on, I just love how matter of fact Sean is about everything. Whereas Jack, you know, you and I we'll insert some confidence to our speech, like we know exactly what we're talking about. But Sean's just like, no, Sawyer was the best hitter on the Gators last year, or no, Casey Bennett was the 4th best or the best number 4 hitter in the entire league last year, and this guy knows the numbers to back it up, and I love that so much. So thank you, Sean, for coming on the show and being so sharp.
It's very refreshing.
It's humbling.
It's like, it's got to be awesome to have just the blueprint right in front of you. Just like, yeah, this is what it is. These are the facts. So whatever your opinion is really doesn't matter because these are the facts.
It's a fact. Love it. Sean, while we have you, we do have 7 more awards here. I know a lot of these are, you know, you could say more chalked. MVP, I think everyone's going to vote for Ryan, just sort of is what it is. Shout out to Ryan. He's darn good at this game. Silver Slugger, Gold Glove, Cy Young, those 3 awards. Anything you want to say about those ones? Big awards.
I do. Well, first of all, with MVP, I think even beyond Ryan, like if this was ranked voting, like in the baseball awards, I think every ballot would be the same top 3 in the same order. I think everyone would go
Being.
Cratched 1, Allen 2, Robles 3.
Yeah, that's what I would say for myself as well. It's hard to argue with.
Yeah, agreed.
Cy Young, I think, will probably be the biggest runaway of any of the awards. It'll be Robles. He had taken all of his runs, even the unearned runs into account. He allowed less than a run per 3 innings, and that's with having to pitch with the bases loaded and dealing with some errors. I don't remember what
Errors
his
by who?
actual. I believe he had 1 unearned run on an error.
I'm kidding.
It definitely wasn't yours. It would have been a left field error.
It may have been. But Robles was darn good this year. I didn't get much action out in right field.
He struck out 61.5% of the batters he faced. I only have that for the last 2 years, but I have to imagine that's a record for the league.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, the only other guy who I think will get votes is Dallas, and like there's an argument for it, mainly based on the innings. Like he pitched 11 and a third more innings than anyone else. I'm sorry, no, that's wrong. He pitched 9 and 2/3 more innings than everyone else.
Boom.
That is a lot, but I just can't ignore how great Robles was on a rate basis when he still had a lot of innings.
Yeah, Robles was incredible this
Yeah,
year.
he was
got my vote.
unbelievable.
How about Gold Glove?
Yeah, I was gonna say this is what I'm curious about, just because I can't. This is one where I would rely on Sean to give me the answer, because I can't even really like remember. Like obviously, like when you start saying some plays and stuff that was made, it's like yeah, but I want to know the numbies. I want to know the WAR, all the
There we go.
you know, all the stats on who should win Gold Glove.
I have, when we're done with awards, I actually do have a fun WAR tidbit for you guys.
Oh
let's
yes,
go.
love that. Start the year.
Gold Glove, I would have voted for someone who wasn't on the ballot. I would have voted for Heath, who was not one of the finalists, just because there wasn't really someone who had an overwhelming defensive season this year. Like the leader in defensive runs was Cheatham with 3.7. Then it was Heath with 3.3, Cratched with 2.3, Norp with 2.3, Landon with 1.9. It was really close. Like usually there's someone with 7 or 8, and this year that just wasn't the case.
And for the people, what is that stat? The defensive runs for the people who might not get it.
It's how many runs above average you're worth, just based on the plays you made and didn't make.
Basically, yeah. So basically, runs you're effectively taking off the board. Okay, got it. People got it now.
Thanks, Jack, for that. For our fans who weren't aware.
Yeah, for the fans.
Yeah.
Wait, Heath is a right fielder, so he gets a lot of plays. He receives a lot of balls at first. The Diamondbacks are very pitch to contact, so he does get a lot of ground balls. He gets a lot of pop-ups, and I kind of feel bad. Like this is something of a lifetime achievement award for me. He keeps being the second best fielder in the league and keeps being behind his own teammate in that. In that this year, when there wasn't really a standout defender, I would have gone Heath if I could have. I went with Norp. He was the best one on the ballot. But I really would have voted for Heath, and I really wanted to see Cheatham on the ballot because he was great in a limited sample.
That's so funny. I would not have. I got to be honest. I would have never guessed that Chris Cheatham would be up that high.
I would agree with you 100%. He did headshot somebody, right? Or was that Dallas who headshotted somebody? Who had the headshot outfield assist?
Yeah, Dallas was not good at fielding as a pitcher this year, but he was great in left field.
I think just for the headshot alone, I would have voted for Dallas Allen. Was he the one who threw that ball? Who threw that? They get my vote. Dallas Allen. write him in. If he's not on there, I'm writing him in. That was insane. Just so cool. Just the fact that it was in the head. I love it so much.
Yeah, I would love to know if that was intentional.
No shot. Not a chance.
Because I'm just interested to hear your take, Sean, but I don't know what numbies you have to help guide your decision for the most dedicated award. So I'm curious how you voted.
I voted for Baldwin,
Nice.
who I think
Nice.
will win, because I have a feeling if this one went purely on fan vote, Norp would win it every year. So I think Kyle kind of puts his finger on the scale for most dedicated.
Yeah. Okay, fair.
It not including Kyle, who I think should win most dedicated every year, but it's not interesting if he does. So I assume he's not eligible.
I'd say that's correct.
Yeah, I think he just takes himself out of the running.
Yeah.
And also not including Mr. Schultz.
He should win every year. You're right.
Mark and Kyle,
right.
they should co-hoist this one every year.
Mr. Schultz wins most dedicated every year in the fan Discord.
Beautiful.
I was gonna say, isn't most dedicated like a? Can't you write it in?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder how many. So do we know that number then? Mark Schultz has to get a certain amount of votes per year.
We could get that number, Jack. We could request that number. I've seen it. There was a lot of Mark Schultz's and a lot of Greg Kratz last year. I promise you that. I saw him on the ballot. A lot of also Swamp Mans on the ballot.
We do have to come up with an award that's like, it's like, it just becomes a meme where I don't even know what you want to call the award, but just Mark Schultz wins it every year. And then it's just, we just keep going and it's like, 15-time whatever it is, champion of the year, like
dad
Mark
of the
Schultz,
commissioner,
wins
best,
it again.
Best commissioner dad, Mark Schultz.
Best commissioner dad. Man, this was a tight race this year.
Yeah.
Came down to the wire, but once again, Mark has won. We got to do something like that.
I hope PB wins as well. He's got my vote. I think the only other person who I would say should even deserve a vote would be Jeremy Adams, just because of his travels as well, that PB was also undergoing. But you factor in PB's work on the pod and the shorts and short form content, you got to give it to PB, guys. So I hope you all did the right thing.
Facts.
But I'm excited to see the award show. It was a Christmas theme. I think Kyle revealed that a few weeks ago. So we were all in some holiday attire. I wore my green, like, velvetish jacket again. And a lot of ugly sweaters were at the event. A lot of Santa hats. I don't want to reveal too much, but it was fun. It was fun to be a part of. There may or may not be a blooper in there, Jack, that I contributed to. I guess we'll see what happens. But I've definitely talked about it on the podcast before as something that is a high risk, high reward situation for something that can be funny in public. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know if I made the final cut or not, but we'll see. It may or may not make it. But that would be my only contribution to the video because I don't believe I was even on the ballot. So thank you guys this year for all your support. Maybe next year we'll get one. Maybe, if we're lucky. Maybe. Just maybe. Just maybe.
Given his podcast appearance, I will be disappointed if Drew is not in the holiday video in something Christmas horror related.
TBD. I don't want to reveal too much. Jack, you know what I just thought of that we should definitely like campaign for this off season and this season? We should.
Were you gonna say podcaster of the year award?
Should be me versus you every year.
Yes, we should. That would be great. I was literally
so
just thinking when I was talking about new awards that we could come up with. That would be another one. Is we could just do podcasters of the year, podcast host of the year, and it's just me versus you.
Well, no, but then I also think the ongoing joke there, Jack, could be it's Jack Agner and Tommy Coughlin. Then there's a third bullet for a write-in, and every year the fans should just write in Sean Huff, and then he wins every year, not me or you.
Yeah, that's right. That would be actually correct. That would be
poetic. That would be poetic.
Yeah.
I don't know. Your podcast MVP in 24 might have been Sawyer.
Sawyer and Drew might have been podcaster of the year this year.
Yep, that's fair. They did the numbies, not us.
It also could have been PB, editor of the year, podcast editor of the year. Next year, Jack, we're making our own ballot. Okay, we're doing that.
Yep.
Right. Fans hold us accountable. We're going to release our own Pipe It Up Awards. We're going to make a fun name for them. And we're going to have our own award show for the unsung heroes of this league, I think.
I love that. I love that idea.
I love it
We
too.
gotta write that one down before we forget that.
Some could say it's the best idea of this year so far.
Yeah, this I assume will get cut out. But I mentioned the Discord fan awards earlier. One of the awards is the Ty Smith Most Handsome Player Award.
Perfect example of what the Pipe It Up Awards are going to be all about right there. We're not cutting that out.
Yeah, that's great. That's perfect.
It's
That's
almost
what we
like for my Office fans, it'll be like the Dundies. Everyone's going to get a prize, but they're not participation awards. They're awards you have to earn. So
I'm writing it in the doc right now, just in case.
Perfect. I'll write it on my arm in some ink that will at least take a couple weeks to fade, so that way I can look at it for a few weeks and then I won't forget later on.
There you go.
Okay. Well, Sean, we're going to let you get back to it. We know you have some family members to take care of this evening. Jack and I got to wrap this one up. The fans are getting sick of hearing our voice, but we really appreciate you, Sean, coming on the show time and time again. You are a highlight of this pod. There's no better way to start 2025 than with Stats Sean. I got to say it.
Well, thank you again. I'm going to leave you with one final thing. I want to say congratulations to Ryan Cratch, because after this season, he officially became the third player in MLW history with 50 career WAR.
Wow.
50 career WAR. So the Preds have won 50 games essentially because of him being on the team. Or I guess any team, not just the Preds.
Yeah. He had like 15 with the Eagles.
Okay. So Jack, let me do this. 52 on the dot. Sean, watch this. Jack, that means if you replace Ryan Cratch with an average MLW player on the Preds, they would have 50 less wins over his career. Or I guess in this case, like 37 if he had 15 with the Eagles. Is that correct, Sean?
Mostly. It's a little worse than average player. It's a replacement player, so that would be like the fifth or sixth guy on a roster.
Okay.
So basically, like the Preds before Cratch, that's what the Preds would still be.
Yes.
If you put
for all the OG fans out there,
if you put if you put a 2024 Jack Agner or Tommy Coughlin in place of Ryan Cratch for the last X amount of years, the Preds would have 37 less wins. And we're only playing 15-game season, folks. So that's a little frightening.
That is scary.
By the way, the all-time leader is Kyle, of course. 116.
Oh gosh. That's probably deserved. I'll be honest. He's been playing this game a long time. But we appreciate it as always, dude. Hope you had a great New Year, and hope you have a great 2025.
Yeah, you guys too. And I'm sure I'll see you again before the season starts.
All right, 2 guests down. All that's left now is probably the biggest news in recent memory for this podcast, arguably ever. I'm going to hand it over to Jack here. Jack's got some exciting things to share with the Pipe It Up faithful. Jack Agner, take it away.
Very, very exciting. Those of you who are watching via YouTube may have noticed the hat that I'm wearing. And officially, I have become a dad, which is something that is really tough to put into words. Honestly, I don't obviously do this podcast for a living, but I do a lot of talking and thinking, and it's really something that's hard to put into words. But yeah, we welcomed our daughter into the world here in December. So it was I would say the ultimate Christmas present.
That'll be tough to beat.
It'll be tough to beat. It'll be very tough to beat. So,
but this might do it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I think for the sake of this podcast, I feel like I'm going to. I mean, this is a very I know being a podcast listener to the podcast that I like listening to a lot, you feel like you really get to know and you're like almost friends with the co-hosts, even though they have no idea who you are. But you just spend so much time listening to them that's kind of how you feel. So So I hope that you listeners feel that way about Tommy and I, or at least to some degree enjoy, listening to us. Otherwise, you wouldn't keep doing it. But I do want to share stories because I'm sure there'll be funny things to share along the way, being a new parent, and I'm going to conceal the name, I guess, or identity of my daughter. It is a girl, but I'm not going to share her name because it's one of those things where it's like once you kind of put it out there, then that's out there. So, we all know the internet and what that brings. So I think that's kind of what I've decided is I will share stories with you guys because it's fun and it's fun to talk about, and I'm sure it'll be exciting, but I'll probably just refer to her as my daughter throughout those stories. So, but yeah, I'm very, very excited. Shout out to Sarah. Absolute champion. Unbelievable. So yeah, I'm really excited. And it's been, some of you are probably wondering, why someone who was so close to becoming a father decided to drive all the way down to Ohio and shove a bunch of waffles in his mouth.
So true.
And which I wondered that a lot too, as did my wife. And so maybe all the badgering that I talked about of her asking why I had to do that makes a little bit more sense now. There's a level of, I think, maturity that you have to be a parent. And doing a Waffle House challenge, you got to still have some fun, folks. You got to still have some fun. So there'll be more challenges, of course. But yeah, I appreciate, Tommy, you letting me share. It's been a while. We've had this thumbnail planned for a long time with Tommy's hat and my hat. This was kind of a coincidence that we both got these hats, but I think it'll make for a cool thumbnail. So appreciate you guys sticking around this late in the episode, and yeah, more to come.
They better not have clicked off. You guys gotta show some congrats in the comments for Jack, so that way people who tried to click off early realize they missed something. Yes. This has been a long one, so I'll keep my comments short, Jack. But first of all, yeah, congratulations to you and Sarah. That's awesome. And I'll say this just so you guys can understand like how cool this was for Jack and his wife and family and even friends. Like, I've known Jack a very long time. Well before this podcast, our older sisters were friends many, many years ago. I can recall like going over to Jack's house when we were probably in, I don't know, 2nd, 3rd grade, like playing video games and stuff. And I'm not someone who really, I wouldn't say my strong suit is like showing emotions like through like physical touch. Just put it that way. And when Jack told me, he's like, this was like back in the summer, and I think you were like, Grant isn't the only one on the Magic who's going to be a dad anymore. And when I say I jumped into Jack's arms like a child, I truly did, because I was just so happy.
That's true.
Knowing him and his wife for so long, I was just so happy for him. So congrats to you. And Jack does juggle unbiasedly more than I do to make this show happen between his marriage, his family, his new growing family. He coaches lacrosse. He owns a home, has a full-time job like I do myself. So just the sacrifices that Jack makes to be here every week, you guys should appreciate. And I know I really appreciate it. So thank you, Jack, and congratulations to you and your new little family.
Appreciate that, Tom. Appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. So that's about as good of an ending as you're going to get to a podcast episode. What a way to start the year, Jack. Round of applause to ourselves. A fun one. Thank you to Sawyer. Thank you to Sean. Thank you to Jack. Thank you to Kyle. Thank you to Pat for the awesome gifts. Stay tuned for when we give Jack his gifts as well. And yeah, that's a wrap on this one. Patrick Ballman, you are an elite gift giver. We will see you all next week.
Pipe it up, pipe it up, pipe it up, pipe it up, pipe it up.